Welcome to iRacing. This is the GT Sprint Series, and this week we are racing the Porsche. As you know, Watkins Glen 6 hours coming up, and so that's where we're racing. In the GT Sprint Series, it's all GT3 cars, so no multi-class racing, and then there also is a mandatory pit stop. But this is the track map of Watkins Glen. And then into qualifying, basically I'm just going to take you through this lap. You basically brake right about now where that grass changes and cuts a bit into the right. Take this curb, go really wide into this left one, and you try not to get a track limit. I know I do a few times in my race coming up later, but you go uphill through these S's, which is a lot of fun. You get a lot of compression out of them. And then you go into the back straight. But the main reason I'm racing this series this week is because I'm doing the 6 hours of Watkins Glen with a team of mine, and going into this bus stop, you brake out about the 300 and you absolutely tank these curbs. I know I tanked it a bit too much there in that first one, and I can definitely go wider in that last one. But the Porsche is really good at the curbs compared to some of the other cars. They're much more stiff in the suspension, and so, it's a bit harder, a bit less stable taking it. But you go into this left-hander, and then you're finally going downhill. This is also my first time running a qualifying setup. It's only my second race on Watkins Glen, so I don't have a ton of practice here. I'm running in races about 146 fours, and in qualifying right now, I believe I was on track for a 145.8 or a 145.7, somewhere around that range. Before the 6 hour, I'm trying to get consistently into the 145s, which in lower class racing is going to do pretty good. Through this horseshoe here, we are setting up for the next two corners. You really want to take them fast and wide, and knowing that my car is much lighter, I actually don't know. That's the thing. And so I just completely lose it, and I go straight into the wall and forget that I, don't have 100 liters of fuel. But so lap one, we're starting P29, and the lights go out, and we just get a jump on these two guys. They just don't want to be a part of turn one, which is, completely fine. Up ahead, this Ferrari gets rear-ended and just takes out this Lambo. Poor guy. I mean, nothing more the Lambo could have done or the Ferrari. They just got absolutely slammed. And it's back at us. And we're just going, taking it slow, trying not to die. Definitely could have gone a little bit quicker, but into the back straight, we're behind this BMW. We have a guy ahead that's blinking, and we're just going to send it right up the inside, I'm trying to move up positions as fast as possible. I give that guy way too much space, and so he's able to cut back across, but going into this downhill right-hander, we do have the inside, which, is kind of impossible to overtake on the outside unless the car on the inside is really, really slow. Going uphill through this right-hander, we are able to get a good run onto this Ferrari, and so we're pulling to the right side, setting up for the next corner because it's that sharp right-hander where you go normally down to third. We're able to go alongside, got to go down to second just because didn't want to kill the Mercedes in front. I didn't know if I was going to be able to cut all the way to the left, but the Ferrari, you can see he's on my left side, and I do give him ample space, maybe a little too much space. I think if I squeezed him a little bit more, we could have maybe gotten the position there, but he is on the inside here, which is kind of impossible to overtake on, which we'll see later on with me trying on someone else. But so we kind of just swoop around, and then we are going back into the straight. Mercedes ahead just decides to almost spin, saves it, but loses the position, and then now we're behind three other people. This is only lap 2, and we're already up a lot of positions, but almost hit the Mercedes here, get really close. He's going way too slow compared to what the actual racing speed should be like, and we do get an off track there, so that's one. I think we only get about 6 incidents here, all off track, so it's not actually like a big deal. But moving forward, we get a good run through these S's into the straight, and we just have a lot of slipstream. We can see there's the two BMWs, I believe, fighting up ahead, and one of them cuts to the right, and then we also cut to the right on this Mercedes. I'm just going to let them, because I feel I have a bad vibe, and I'm right, I had a bad vibe that someone's just going to crash there, and the Mercedes taps the BMW, and the BMW's gone. Other guy up ahead is gone, and then the Mercedes, I'm able to get up on the inside of him and take that position, which, there is, if you get alongside somebody on the inside, it's just really easy to take that position. They're not going to be able to do anything about it just because there's not enough traction on the outside to hold the speed. BMW up ahead going into the final corner just decides to put it into the wall. Probably gets wheel damage, not 100% sure, but we do take the position, and so now we are up. So lap 5, P15, we do have a good run on this Porsche. We finally caught up to him, so we're right behind him. And we've made up about, 14 positions by now, and we're only 5 laps into the race. We're right behind this guy fighting for it. I was really pushing kind of every single lap, wasn't holding back at all, but this Porsche is able to stay ahead there, and I kind of just try and set up for the next run because I know if you get a bad exit out of that first corner, you're kind of cooked. You can see I'm almost behind him, and he just shuts the door on me, and I know I have to lift a little bit there when I was driving, but here we have a good run on him going into the straight. You can see that BMW is still chasing behind, and Porsche is just fighting for his life here. We rip it to the right side, trying to overtake here, which normally is not very possible, and yeah, he just gets ahead, and we stay behind, trying to survive, not, crash out or kill each other. We do have a good run on him here. He does brake a little bit early. You're supposed to brake like at the sewer grate that's on the side, but he brakes a little early. We take a little too much curb there as well, and we can see he's behind us, and he's just having to tuck in, and there's nothing he can do about it. I know going uphill here in my skill group, I'm a bit quicker than everybody else, but just because when I was racing and practicing, we had someone who was kind of giving me tips, and I was able to improve a bit there, but lap 8, we're up to P14, chasing this Ferrari. There was just a lot of small battles in this race, which was, a lot of fun. I mean, you can see that Porsche behind. We kind of left him in the dust, and that's what happens when, I don't do qualifying. I mean, I did do qualifying, it's just I crashed. But we can see same uphill right-hander. We put it on the inside. Ferrari tries to take the outside line, and we're just quicker, and so we secure that position. And going into the downhill, he's still fighting for it. You can see I kind of make my car a little bit wide by making it so if he tries to tuck on the left, he'll have to put half of a wheel, full wheel into the grass, which not ideal for him, but we catch right up to the 2 cars in front, and we are kind of just cutting through this field like Max Verstappen in Brazil. Very next lap, finally gaining on this McLaren and the Ferrari in front. McLaren has a lot of slipstream, but way up ahead, the Mustang and the Corvette decide to kill each other based on the Mustang trying to go for an overtake. And so I see that and I say, all right, I'm going to go for the exact same move. And I honestly don't know why. I missed my braking marker. The guy next to me also misses his braking marker. You can hear in his replay he goes a little bit wide. I have no idea how I lived here. Yes, it was kind of a dirty overtake, but here's his point of view. If you listen to the tires, just there, you can kind of hear how, understeery he was. He was just carrying too much speed as well. I just, had a better line for carrying too much speed. Then we're already right on the tail of this Ferrari ahead. We put it on the inside, and he kind of squeezes us. We take way too much curb. He kind of acts like we're not there, but, he had the space. And going into this uphill right-hander, he sweeps left, I sweep right, because I know if I'm on the inside, I'm going to be completely fine. And Ferrari says, I don't like that, and just decides to kill the McLaren behind him, because, if he's going down, might as well take someone with him. But lap 11, we're finally coming in for a pit stop. So like I said, this race does have a mandatory pit stop, just based on fuel, because you're only allowed to carry a certain amount of fuel, and it's a 40-minute race. And so, yeah, we don't take any tires. Just because of how short of a race it is, we only have about 10 minutes left. There's that Lamborghini that died on lap 1, turn 1. He's behind, but lap 16, almost done with the race. We're sitting P9. There's this green McLaren ahead of us. He started, I believe, P3 or P4, but he was complaining in the voice chat basically the whole race. His mic was way too quiet to hear, but he just kept yapping the whole time. You can see he goes a little bit wide into that first corner, so we are going to get a good run. We're using all that track, all that curb, and we are just pushing right up to him. You can see his line's not very tight through the S's as well, but he does have slipstream from the BMW as well. The BMW up ahead is a lapped car. I think it was in 22nd or 23rd, but he decides to let us by, which is amazing. And I was really thinking about going on a move to try and pass the McLaren here, but I just decided not to, play it safe. because I know I have a few more laps left. Right here, just a few corners later, we were right on his tail. I go and on the left side, and I wish I had the inside here. I definitely should have tried to take it, just because I'd made like 3 overtakes before this that all had the inside, and I know that if you're on the outside, you're not going to be able to pass, so I don't know why I went for it. But going into the inside here, I kind of go for the exact same type of move. Like, I leave him space, and he just has the quicker line, because I just have to, like, it's more of a pinched corner for me, and he gets ahead. And so, yeah, I'm looking on the inside here, and like I said earlier, it's just not possible to overtake on the inside unless I'm trying to kill the McLaren. And, you know, I guess he didn't complain during our battle at all, which is nice, because I guess means I was doing something right for him. But going into the main straight, we do get a good run on him. So finally going into the S's, you can see how close behind we are and how much we're gaining. So you can see we sweep over to the right-hand side, and we're just going alongside, and we get our front wheel up to his rear wheel, and we just leave him the space. Because, I mean, you can see how he was driving. He was going to take all that curve. He wasn't leaving me space like the guy earlier. But this Porsche, I believe 2 positions ahead in P6, just decides to dip his toe into the grass and just loses control of the car. And he's into the wall, and we go right past. But going into that downhill right-hander, I sweep to the side, and he outbrakes himself and just goes a little bit wide. I think I could have gone a bit wider there, just looking it back now, but we do secure the position. For the next few laps, it's just me by myself. You can see we kind of lose the McLaren behind, and we're just in our own race at this point. And it wasn't a bad race either. I know some of the people in P1 were running like low 145s at some point, and I think I ran a 145 like 8 at some point, but I had an off track, and so it didn't count. But, you know, we gained 0.06 safety rating and 66 I rating. We are trying to get to 1500 I rating, maybe 2000. That's the goal. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.